today we have Devin Santino. One of my favorite people, and favorite people because we grew up together. So anybody that you grow up with, you know they just become part of your life and somebody that you're always going to root for. So when we were younger, Devin and I were in a program called Image Makers. And this kind of set a long journey for Devin. And for me, it set an interest. But seeing how Devin has created a path for himself, and now he's in Thailand. We're going to get into that. He's in Thailand right now, talking to me at 11 o'clock at night. I'm talking to him at 11 o'clock in the morning. So I want to thank him again for giving me his time and showing up. So, Devin, how are you?
Thank you. Thank you for sure. Thank you for giving me this time to speak as well. Because, like I told you before we started, I haven't done many interviews. So, yeah, I just appreciate you for giving me the time to speak.
Yes. And I was just so excited when he said yes because of where we're from. A lot of guys, so we're from Southeast DC. A lot of guys, sometimes we like to hold it to the background and don't really like to speak. But I know with us being in Boys and Girls Club, we have gotten so many opportunities to speak or be pushed. And just knowing Devin, I know that probably in school, because of the kind of person that you are, you probably were asked to speak or, have leadership because you are just a kind person and just a leader, for lack of better words, but definitely a leader. And I want to talk about that, like growing up in our community and deciding to forge your own path. What was that for you? Also about your family, because I can't really remember seeing your family too much. So I was just want you to talk to us a little bit about your background and growing up and how they molded you into the young man that you are today.
So, early on, I spent most of my time. My mom and dad has like always been together since I was born, up until about 4 years ago.
Mm.
So, um, early on, I grew up with like my grandparents because mother and father they both worked two jobs. Like
Mhm.
my father worked for like the court building. He was doing like maintenance up there and painting, like doing side paying jobs.
Mhm.
And my mom's been a teacher since the year before I was born. So between that and like when she had me, she was working at night um, up at like NIH. So
Mhm.
I was born at 4:44 in the morning, like
Really?
AM.
We got
And
to get
my
into that birth chart, Devin. We're going to talk about that later.
oh man, you could tell a lot about a person through that. But
Yeah.
yeah. So um, yeah, my mom, she when she had me, she drove herself to the hospital, like from work to the hospital because her water broke at the job, and she drove herself to the hospital. Um, she would tell me this story like when I was born. I when I came out, I wasn't crying, but like I was real, like I was turning like blue almost. So
Mm,
it was like, is he okay? So they had to hit me a
right
little bit.
up.
Then I started crying, and everything was okay. Like I wasn't nothing wrong too much, but it was just that story always stuck out to me. I get it repeated over and over and over again. But it's funny between that and being born at 4:44 a.m. It was like that's what kind of attracted me to astrology, and I
Mm-hmm.
probably haven't even told anybody that I like astrology like that. But
Yeah.
you
Look, look,
shot.
we'll have that meeting. I love astrology. I live for astrology. I live for all the metaphysics. Talk about it because it helps us talk about our journey, helps us see what we're supposed to do, helps us make sure that we're aligned with our natural energy. Not necessarily saying you have to do this or you have to do that, but often in life we have different interests, and then you can look at your chart and say like, I'm supposed to be doing this, or it makes sense, or like tradition will tell you like, right, tradition will tell you, okay, maybe I need to, be pinned up, be buttoned up. And that's another question that I have. And that's why I asked about your upbringing, because I never saw your parents, but I always wonder, like when you think about it, you're like, oh, I never saw their parents. So I never saw this person's parents. They be
It,
working. They be at work.
yeah. it was a test. It's like it's a testament to what I'm doing now because like I believe like we are some of both our parents, like
Mhm.
the masculine and the femininity. So um just seeing growing up, well early on, like I said, let me just start a little back. I grew up with my grandmother down there, and that was up until like from I was born, like when I left the hospital to about 3, 4 years old. Like my grandmother would always say, like my mother took me from her and put me in school to start early. So,
You was
so,
chilling with her.
so yeah, and she told me a lot. Like she
Mhm.
told me my ABCs and stuff before I went to school type shit. So, oh, I'm sorry, can I curse?
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, she taught me my ABCs and stuff early on. So, um, I still think about that now, like going back to like independence. So like when I was growing up and I stopped going over there as much, I would, just ask my mom, like, would you ever homeschool your kid or
I need to go back home.
yeah, yeah. Like man, so after like elementary school and stuff, uh going into middle school, I think that's when I got into like a artistic side. I had this point in like third grade where um, I had transferred schools. I was going to my mom's school up until third grade, right?
I know that's something in itself. But you're so cute. I couldn't see you really being bad. Where you
And,
were.
see, that's the thing. I wouldn't do that. It's like, nah, that's the thing. Anything that I would do, they'll
Mhm.
report back to her like
Right.
instantly. So any other parent would get it like on doing like the conferences and stuff like that, but she was getting it any time I did something.
On
So
it.
she got tired of it, and I think one day my teacher had sent home like hella homework, and she found herself like standing up doing it for me type
Mhm.
thing. So she was like, "Nah, I think it's time to just transfer you." So I ended up going to Watkins. I was going to school in Northwest, and then I started going to school at Watkins on Capitol Hill.
Mhm.
And yeah, one time in the third grade, I had like a substitute teacher. Mind you, this art teacher was Asian herself. Like, and
Oh,
little did I know, like this was like, yeah, it was shaping me. So she was actually off for the day, and she had this substitute, and I ain't think nothing of it. It was just a random day, and he was like, just draw. I got a construction piece of paper in front of you. Just draw whatever you want, and after that, just lay your head down. So remembering back, I drew like it was like it was 9 total circles, but like all of them were like consecutive, and it was just I don't even know how to explain. I wish I could just still show you that picture. But anyway, I submitted the picture. I just laid down, and about like the next week, I got they knocked on my homeroom teacher door. It was like, "Tell Devin come outside." I came out, and my art teacher and another lady was there. They was like, "Sign this paperwork. We want to submit your art to Ronald Reagan's National Airport Gallery." I was like, what? Like, like I ain't think nothing of it at the time, but that planted a seed in my head right then and there. I was honored to be recognized right then and there. So,
mhm.
um, yeah, after that same year, I started playing sports. Like that was my first year playing football. I played football at Watkins for I say about 6 years,
Mhm.
and uh, like that experience was it unimaginable because I met so many people that wasn't from the neighborhood. You get what I'm saying? Just all
Yeah.
over. And that allowed me to, go into some of those neighborhoods when I got older and, have, a face card or some sort of respect without, having to feel like I got to protect myself. So,
Exactly. I always thought about that when you did your music videos. Or people who do music videos in general. I love y'all, so I always think about y'all safety. Like, Why y'all got my boys out there with the good rats? But I remember we are too. We grew up everywhere, and it's so interesting to see how fast you could try to separate yourself, but at the same token, it's like this is our music, these are our people. So of course, like I'm going to support them. Of course, I'm going to share my skill with them to make sure that they could be seen on a broader stage. So I'll always understand it, but still, I mean, like get Devin from around there. But yes, go ahead, keep on. Sorry, you were talking about playing football and meeting a lot of people through that.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, I was playing football. Then about like sixth or seventh grade, I would still go over like my grandmother's house, like often, but not too often, just more so on the weekends. And then it started to be like, you know, as I got older, as I started to see stuff, my people would be like, they either question why I want to continue going over there, or like, just try to guide me into a different direction because, yeah, they were just trying to guide me to something else. So, around that time, I had actually seen my grandmother get evicted, and like I'm a like we are all energy, right? So I just take on that. Like I took on what she was going through personally too. So I
But also
always
been living in the same place. That's still like your childhood space as well. So
facts,
that's an impact within itself.
facts. So and everybody deal with things differently, but I know for me that changed my whole mindset about like what I what I wanted to do moving forward. And I started to get real like that's when the hustling spirit got into me. Like I started selling gum, trying to. It was funny because it wasn't like I was trying to support her, but I was building a shield around myself to where there was like I don't want to be in a certain position, or I don't want to
You don't have.
not have. You get what I'm saying? And,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I guess that's still a fire inside of me today for real. So that's kind of when that started, and then seventh grade, like the next year, I went out to my parents had they took me on a trip to Hawaii, and like that opened my eyes. First, I was like, "Man, I don't even know no kids my age that went to Hawaii." Like, it
Really?
was a blessing for sure, but not even no buts. I remember coming home though, like my mom, we had spent about 7 days, and that was probably like the longest vacation like
It's a long vacation.
I had spent. Yeah, so coming back. Of course, nobody want to come back home from vacation. And so I don't know if I said it or like my mother said it, but I'm like, what if you could just vacation for life? Like you just
Wow.
be where you want for life. And yeah, I remember asking her that specifically. So like coming back to school and stuff, I kind of had a whole different mindset. And you know, our middle school was already like they called it a museum school, so we was rarely like in class. We was always integrated with the art somehow. Either it was like an assembly, or it was going to a museum, or it was just going to like memorials around the city and even outside the city for real. So that was like middle school, and then going on to high school. Um, Mind you, I never really picked up the camera throughout
Mhm.
this time. I like pictures and stuff like that. I did do like a group inside of in middle school where we went around and took pictures of memorials, but it was just something that we did for fun. We all had our camera phones and stuff like that, and we was just developing. So yeah, by like high school, I was still playing sports. Started to get more focused on like IT and engineering and stuff like that. So then that's when I got introduced to the club, and that was like what was challenging for me is like going into new spaces and just having to be open again. You get what I'm saying? You get
Yeah.
used to being around the people that you grew up with. You migrate to schools together. You see the same people generally, but then it was funny because like FBI was so close to home, but I rarely would. That was my first time coming down there, you know. um, but yeah, I think I started coming to the club like our junior year, and that was the same time we was going to like this what you call it? It was like an all boys group session, like a gentleman's club at our school.
Mm-hmm.
For lunchtime, we would just have group discussions, and we'd talk about like anything. He'd give us the floor to talk about anything, but it mainly always boiled down to like religious beliefs or like just spiritual things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was that's what added to me opening up and just seeing different perspectives and stuff like that. So yeah, that
Yeah.
was that's really how I came up though.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that story. And then when you get to the point about having conversations and opening space and it getting down to spirituality or their religion or how they choose to lead their life, do you think those conversations were mainly just young men trying to figure things out? Like what do you remember most from those conversations about like what like the end point? Like what do you think that like now looking back, I guess the better question is what do you see in retrospect that they were trying to understand or you all were trying to understand?
I guess just understanding in general because
Mm-hmm.
we we didn't take time out for ourselves to have group discussions and and even just being around other guys that we didn't normally hang around and hearing their perspectives, like it was just a complete understanding. All of us had different like religious, I wouldn't even say beliefs, we just had questions.
Mm-hmm.
um the like the leader of the gentleman's club, uh he didn't promote a religion towards us, but like I said, he just opened the table up, and that's what like majority of the discussions like boiled down to. I think we were just trying to figure out how to grow and how to just accept ourselves.
Yeah. and and exist. Like I think about a lot of conversations that we had when we were down there because for me it was very different because I same grew up in two-parent household, but I had three siblings. It's four of us all together, plus like living in the area, but we weren't really too ingrained in the community, as in like too much in the streets or anything like that. So that was always interesting to me for y'all to just be so I don't know. I feel like there was such a stigma put on young men from our community, and I'm like, I always wanted to show like my friends are smart, like they not just running
Yeah,
around doing anything. And as we get older, it's so interesting just to see how different people choose to take paths. But ultimately, everybody has a good heart and wants the best, but it's just the way that they have to get it. So, moving forward into high school and being in the Boys and Girls Club, you getting into image makers. What do you remember about like your first time picking up your camera or even like, getting on the computer, seeing what you actually took pictures of? Like, how do you remember that experience?
I remember it being exciting. Like I just wanted to see something produced. I always like seeing the process of seeing something start and seeing something end. I I always had an eye for detail. So, just any random thing that I just thought looked inspiring to me or cool, like, I felt like it could be captured. And I just let the process just flow for me. So I was excited just seeing um especially like my first video edit. I
Yeah.
recorded myself. Like so yeah, it was just exciting. It was an exciting experience and it made me want to do more, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
So then, when was your first? I'll ask. When was your first like paid gig? What was that? Do you remember?
It was in 2013 going on to 2014.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry. It was 2014 going on into 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was from a friend. I had worked summer jobs with him, and he was rapping when we was doing summer jobs. But I think by that time, yeah, we was both out of school, and he was like the only. He was the closest friend that I had that was already rapping. So
Mm-hmm.
I just called him. The first time I called him, I was like, let me just get my feet wet. Let me just go to the studio with you and see what I do, And
Mm-hmm.
then he ended up liking it, and probably like a month later, he ended up, calling back and want to do another one. Um, I think either before that or after that, it was a guy at school. Um, he's like he's heavy into fashion. He was a fashion designer for like a lot of different celebrities, even at the time. And he
I
was
know.
going to BSU with us. So he was getting like these access passes, or that's what I thought. But he was able to get access to different concerts. And so
Mm-hmm.
when he seen me on campus with my camera one time, he was like, let me I think it was around homecoming. He was like, let me send you some footage and get you to edit for me. So within like 2 months of me picking up the camera, I was editing like concert footage for Rihanna. Um,
Go
I think he
Devin.
did one for like the Migos. Yeah, and it was a couple of artists, and
Mm-hmm.
he was like working real closely with Shy Glizzy at the time. So yeah, he just had all this access, and he would just send the footage. He was like, send me back to work, and I'll send you a couple of dollars. I was like, shoot, that's cool. At the time, the money, it really wasn't even about the money. It was, just me having the opportunity to express my art for real, and just
Yeah. And that's what I wanted to ask about, because we talked about the hustling beforehand. When did or did it become your hustle? Because what I hear more so is passion. I don't hear too much of like, I got to do this so I can make money. I hear more so I have to do this. Like when you say vacation for life, you give more the energy that you do things so that they could benefit your life, not so much. So you can live an easier life. That's more so what I hear. Like you try to
Mm.
set yourself in a way that you can live an easier life, not necessarily trying to live so hard. So when did that become like, okay, maybe I will do this, or was it like that from the beginning?
I didn't know all of what I didn't know what I could achieve at that time, like first starting off. I just knew what I wanted to do right then and there. I think I think I got bored of like the regular traditional ways of learning, just sitting in the classroom. So I wanted to just step out on trial and error and do something exciting that I felt was exciting just every single day, whether that be so like part of that was like my marketing. Like I would reach out to people on my own. Like I'll DM a person and say, "Hey, do you need this? Are you looking for this?" And even if a person don't think they looking for it, as soon as you say it, they might be like, "Oh, you know what?" Or even if they don't say it right now, a month later, "Oh, you know what?" So that's when I kind of learned how to, spark seeds and be inspiring myself. So a couple months after I was doing it on my own for a little bit, uh, like some of the artists would ask for photography and videography at the time. So I was like, man, I don't want to focus on both. I just want to lock in on videos. I like moving images. So that's when I think I started to think more about like movies and stuff like that, just moving images in general. So I I started reaching out to a couple people. TJ always been there since day one.
We live for TJ.
He produced. He, so I went to his house one day. I was like, "What you think about this idea?" Because at the time we had collaborated and dropped some shirts together. And we was like selling T-shirts. I had been selling T-shirts since like my senior year of high school. So just taking that and trying to incorporate it into the video production, and we was just put brainstorming. So I was like, man, we should add a photographer to the team so we ain't gotta, just do everything on our own. So it started scaling from there. Like that was by the end of 2014. It was three of us. We had started a YouTube, and going into 2015, it was like, all right, these are all the artists that we want to connect with. This is everything that we want to do. And we just put our head down and just started getting to it, getting to work every single day.
And when we think about moving images, the first thing I think about is storytelling. So what aspect of storytelling comes into your work?
From the very beginning, like I like to envision everything that I do before I do it. You get what I'm saying? Like I like to use my imagination. I think that's where the art thrives for real. So just trying to figure out, okay, how we're gonna start this, what's gonna be the climax, what's going hit home, and how we gonna end, how we gonna make a conclusion. The ironic thing is like in the scope of where we was at the time, like with video production, videography was turning into like they call it run and gun. So that means I show up to shoot a video for an artist, and we basically just bounce off ideas, and it's no plan. You get what I'm saying? So,
but is that because people might not know to make a plan, or do you think that's just what it is? Because I know from being in technical space, when you learn stuff, how like you're supposed to have a storyboard, you're supposed to map everything out. You got a PowerPoint. We want this color gradient, we want it to look like this. So and I appreciate the imagination because it just shows the structure of your thought process. I know for me, a lot of times, like I did some YouTube videos and things like that. I'm an over the scope type of person, so I could see what I'm looking at, and I just need to compact it once I have all of the pieces. So I feel like that's kind of how your brain is. Like you can see it, you just gotta compact it.
Exactly, it is. So even while it was changing in that dynamic, I always I just had an intention in my mind, like, all right, this is how I see it going. Because I never wanted to be a point where, because everybody was used to run and gun, I just never wanted to be a point where I didn't have control. And I know that sounds crazy, but as a director, I want to be able to control.
Your job. You know your job better now. You know what your position is as a director. You know what position as a producer, especially as you get to work in so many different places. You learn so much about how things are actually supposed to go.
Yeah. So. And like clients appreciate that. Like people appreciate that. It goes a long way, especially when they might not, have it all figured out at the time. So they appreciate a person that's, that's gonna get to it and know what they're talking about. So storytelling is very big for me. I think that's because I'm still working on it. That's what's keeping me going. A lot of projects, I just reached out to people and was like, hey, I got this idea. Maybe we should do this. And they like, oh, well, that sounds cool. So it definitely, it just adds to the whole package for real.
I love that. And speaking about storytelling, I want to transition into another side quest of yours. Not too pressed. I saw your video that you did with your grandma. That's what made me think about your family. I was like, oh, I never saw his family. Like I don't remember. So seeing that was very beautiful, and also just seeing how grandmothers are our praying warriors, and we know that they are our biggest supporters. So like I look at my grandma all the time, and she's always so encouraging. So I would like to know from that aspect, like what did your grandma think about like you doing film? Because I know that's all the aspects, film, like you trying to take better care of yourself. What does she say to you like at this point, like when you got a new idea, or even like you've been in freaking Thailand right now? What is she saying?
She'd be amazed. She'd be like, "What?" Like she'd be amazed. Like, man, because our grandmothers, like, it's a blessing
Mm-hmm.
for if if you. It's a blessing for you to have a grandma regardless. But like, she done seen a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
she's been told a lot as well. So I'm just happy like I could actually stand on some of the things that I told her that I was going to do. You know, um, sometimes she don't even believe me. Like if I would come over the house, if she didn't see me like in my training clothes, like gym clothes, like 2 years ago, she would not believe that I was certified or doing personal training. She wouldn't believe.
Oh
She
yes,
would,
that I forgot all about that. That's a whole yes, because not too press is that is personal. Is that with your personal trainer as well? Because I'm thinking about the juices, but I forgot.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So it's like not too pressed is a whole healing and transformation community. It's
Mm-hmm.
not even a business. Like, of course, I want to offer things to people, but at some point, um, there will be offerings of like, hey, take this plant, take this fruit plant, grow it,
Mm-hmm.
so we can have free food. You get what I'm saying? And I envision it being a community for real, and it's bigger than me, really. I use my personal training certification to help push that because physical development plays a very important role into what I do today.
Mm-hmm.
It was points where we was doing like 2-3 video shoots throughout the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and
In the weekend,
yeah,
and
and, and
that's the point that we got to hear. Weekend.
in the weekend, and then driving back to school.
Mm-hmm.
So I always say like if regardless of what job you got, if you're not keeping up with yourself physically, then it's going to take a toll. The job is going to take a toll regardless. And so, not too pressed is, you know, uh, it's a community that can offer like simple ways of just doing things
Mm-hmm.
to better yourself,
Mm-hmm.
um, and make yourself the priority first.
I love and that's what mainly everything grows is about. When we talk about self support, that's my little tagline. I like to talk about self support and a lot of what you do, and that's why I love your story so much because it's really self made. Like self support is the same thing as self made for me. Going after the things that you want to go after, investing your time in researching and understanding for yourself. If you have things with your own body, like me, last night I took over my dad, he has a sinus infection right now. I haven't been sick. I never got the big C. Like, I don't play about my health. And I take my oil of oregano. I take everything. So that just goes to show like how important it is just to feed your body, to have nutrition, also to move your body every day. So Devin, give us some tips. Give us a few tips. If we feeling lazy, how can we get our energy up, get ourselves boosted throughout the day?
I say the first thing you could do, wake up in the morning and go outside, put your feet in some grass. I know it sounds cliche. A lot of people say it. Grounding is a big topic nowadays, but it's true. Like you'll feel completely or just I ain't even gonna say that. Just notice how you feel when you go back inside, and um, also taking the time to just be quiet those first couple minutes of the day. You don't have to attend to anything but yourself first. Like you are the priority. Without you, the rest of the day doesn't. It it's nothing. You get what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, grounding, uh, taking time to yourself, and really spending time with yourself. For any if anybody's religious or anything, is really just spending time with your higher thoughts, or if you want to refer to it as God or anything. But um, that what else? I say exercise for sure. It's not about going in the gym comparing yourself to other people, um, or scrolling on Instagram trying to mimic those exercises. It could be as simple as taking a walk
Yes.
and and
Movement.
stretching. Like you said, movement. All you got to do is move. But speaking of my grandmother, one of the reasons why she is in that commercial, and probably I can't say it for sure because I ain't no scientist, but probably why she's still living today is because she walks every day. She
Yes.
walks every day, and
Mhm.
even the symptoms that she did show of any kind of sickness or dis-ease,
Mhm.
that eventually went away.
Yes. By
And
enriching her body. And that mobility aspect is a big thing for me. We didn't, but it's all into it. It's the aspect of mental health. You have to move your body. You have to get your blood pumping. You have to get your breathe. And a lot of us don't even breathe right. A lot of us hold our breath in our body. A lot of us don't take full breaths. A lot of us, even like for me, I had an injury, so I could feel sometimes I could breathe and my back a crack. Like that's how important your breath is, because you never know what is opening up the channels in your body. But mobility, when we talk about our grandmas, when we get that age, we God willing, we get that age, we could move. We can do things for ourselves. We could do things on our own. We could, reach down, get something from in the cabinet, reach up and get something, be able to step on the step stool. Or as he says, with the juices, I love a fresh juice in the morning, it throughout the day, whatever, because it just brings so much vitality to your body. And it's so, so important. And I wanted Devin, of course, to talk about the importance of moving your body and taking care of your body. A lot of young men and young women, drugs are a huge thing in our community, or just doing things that don't really support our bodies are such a big thing. So for Devin, for you traveling so many different spaces and being in so many different spaces, how have you like kind of like got your mindset together to say like I have to take care of myself? It's not an option for me to take care of myself. It's part of my daily life. Like this is what I have to do.
I'm very critical of myself. So if I'm in a space where I may not feel like being there no more, or I might catch a certain body ache, that's my signal to, oh yeah, take some time to yourself, um, rest, and then, get back in a routine of going to the gym and stuff like that. So, but as of last year, my perspective has changed into more so movement every day
Mm-hmm.
instead of like just incorporate it every day, because taking breaks off that only inspire you to take more breaks.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you want to live life fully, you gotta, just do it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is very important, especially when like you when you're younger, you growing up healthy, fortunately, or for the most part, you're your most healthiest. But
Right.
like you said, you'll when you go through certain things, your breath pattern could change based on that. Um, you might experience certain body aches. So um, as you get older, I say like even around this age, mid 20s, you might start really noticing these things and how they affect you on your day to day. So
Mm-hmm.
taking the time to uh, first respond to that feeling that you get, and then taking the initiative to say, "Oh, I could do this to not feel like this anymore, you know? And that way you don't have to worry about, oh, who's gonna take care of me when such and such,
Exactly.
you know? And nobody nobody wants to be a burden. Nobody want to feel like, oh, somebody got to take care of me. Like some people might do, but
Right. If
the,
you're responsible,
yeah, you
your best.
responsible for you and your own energy. And by me taking that seriously, really help like it tests my faith on entrepreneurship just in general
Mhm.
because um it's just very spiritual for me. Like if I don't feel at my best, I might not produce my best work. I'm not neglecting what might call the shadow side because I think that's useful for like your creativity and knowing the right ways to channel that is definitely good to have a shadow side or a dark side. But yeah, just taking care of yourself in general is just that should be number one.
Yes. And learning to love all of you can help, like you said, your shadow side, but it's all of you, and it's learning like just how to use your energy, how to alchemize your energy. And in some spaces, you need all of your energy. You need it all. And I think when we learn how to just calm down and take a moment, that's what I just really love about your energy. You've always just been so calm, like just like okay, what y'all got going on? Like it is what it is, my type of energy. And I
I
think
kind
that
of
hmm?
I'm sorry for cutting you off, but like I I kind of grew up in environments where it was always high tension, you know, and not just saying Southeast. I'm saying like within the family dynamic as well. So um, that's why I always try to stay faithful to uh, taking time to myself, meditation, which I started like a couple years ago.
Yes.
Um,
And
and
talk to us about that when you finish. I'm sorry, please talk to us about the benefits of meditation and taking the time to just let that brain go.
we can talk about it now for real. If it wasn't for that time, so going back to how I grew up for real,
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with siblings as well, but I'm the only child between my mother and my father. My father, I got two sisters on my father's side, and I got one brother on my mother's side, and I'm the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
So early on, after I was raised by my grandmother. When I was in the house, it was me, my sister, my brother, all the way up until about I got to about sixth grade. Then I started just being in the house by myself. But because my peoples worked so much, everything was in a routine. And if you
Mm-hmm.
know, if if and kids is kids, we had to be disciplined, but
Yeah.
we would get punished like severely. And I ain't
Mm-hmm.
talking about just whoopings. I'm talking about punishment as far as like uh well, me personally, I would get like 30 days in the room.
Mm.
No TV, no phone, no
Yeah.
nothing. If I come out the room, that's to clean up or, like go to the bathroom. But other than that, it was like, wait, what you doing out the room? It's funny now because growing up, I would be like, hey, like, I ain't never, I even go to school and be like, hey, how you get punished? Your people's punish you like this?
Right.
They be like, nah, I don't know about all that. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, and even my brother was punished for like the whole high school, his whole high school 4 years. That
Right.
shit was cool. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. They take it. I about to say they just take it too far sometimes. It's the different generations, them trying to them
it
thinking.
wasn't it wasn't even like my peoples weren't like strict at all. I think what it came from was just being irritated from what they had to do every single day at
Mhm.
their jobs and then come home and then we might not listen to them when they say something the first time, and then it just ticks something. You get what I'm saying? So I get a respect to that for sure. But the reason why I brought that up is because being in having that solitude was special for me because I did a lot of things that I still remember to this day, like that helped me that helped me accept the journey of meditation and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it'll be times where I got older where it was like, well, damn, your parents can't punish you no more, but when you gonna sit down and talk to yourself?
Yes.
I used to do that when I was punished, and it's like it shouldn't take for you having to be punished or for you to see it as punishment for it to be like that. So that goes back to the relearning for real. And it wasn't until like the year after I graduated, I was living in Puerto Rico, and
You're too
I,
cool, brother.
it came back to my mind that I need to sit down. Like I have remorse from not being at home and not being able to see my family and just scrolling on Instagram, not being able to thinking to myself I wasn't able to be
Mm-hmm.
there. Um and yeah, that's what drew me to meditation. I started reading this book called The Power of You by Eckhart Tolle.
Yes.
Um,
I read it.
for real.
Yes.
Yeah. Look,
Because
there you
I hear all of the terms that you use. I'm like, Devin been reading for real. You know?
I love reading. I love reading. So yeah, I had read that book, and that's when I was like, I'm gonna take it serious. I'm gonna start, just sitting down with myself. But of course, I'm trying to fake cross my legs. Eventually, I learned you ain't gotta do all that. Just get you
Just
into
sit
a
down.
space. Just sit down. Like you can just lay down. It's really simple. You can actually meditate through a conversation just by listening to a person. So um, when I started doing that, that's when I started just unlocking just new ideas, and also just establishing a bigger faith foundation within myself. Because a lot of with this hustle culture, we think we gotta always be on a go to have motion or to be successful. We always gotta be on the go. Like, oh, I gotta do this. As soon as I wake up, I gotta. But if you never sit down and think, you might go off course or go in the wrong direction. You get what I'm saying? So having that time to sit down and think allowed me to like reconsider some decisions. So when I did come back home, I had a whole new mindset. I was in a whole different just mental space, and um, that's what meditation done for me. The benefits are it's a lot of benefits. I'm still exploring for real, but it's a blessing to just be able to notice some things, and the universe will actually like give you confirmation of that. For
All the
sure.
time. Yes, I love. Look, I told you I'm already into my meditation. I do tarot. I read charts. I do all of this stuff. So I'm real
Yeah.
into it. But that's the same thing for me for meditation. When we went into lockdown, I think that's when my journey started. As we were talking about, I have hair again. I chopped all my hair off. Like I was really going through it. I was doing yoga every day, and the same thing as you talked about family dynamics. For me, I came from a very loud household, a very like rah 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 all of the time. And as you see, my personality is so. I just have that kind of spirit. Like I just want to be,
Always. You always had that. Nah, that's what I love. That's what I love about you.
Thank you. And I've always just been so excited. But when you talk about that, being an adult and being able to take care of yourself the way that you want to take care of yourself for the first time, And that's a conversation that I have a lot with my younger siblings and people younger than me that are coming into adulthood, to help them get in the process of unlearning what they've already learned, unlearning the systems that they've learned, unlearning the anger that they've learned, the trauma, being trauma. They call it like they call it, I forgot it, like re-traumatizing yourself every time that you go into a situation where you haven't really healed from it. And because
Right.
you haven't healed from it, new things are triggering you. New things are, even as we are adults, and it looks different because we can maybe say something now or we know better now. And that could either lead us to try to help them. That's what my mission was. I started helping my family. I'm like, listen, we're going to have to build better communication. We're going to have to take care of ourselves. Like with Juice and my dad, he is pre-diabetic, and I've been working with him to try to get him off of his medicine. So like I truly get that. Like when you know better, you do better, and that's the encouragement for everybody. When you learn different things, try to teach other people when you know that they work, especially when you know that it will enhance and improve their lives. Like do your best to share the information that you know and uplift everybody, because it's nothing. Some people might be a little bit hard, to get on the wagon and to get with you, but they'll come eventually as long as you keep on living the way that you live. And that's why I always say about you, Devin. Even when we had a few years ago, I can't remember what event it was when we were. What event was that? Do you remember? Like a few years ago?
All the clubs came together.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
And we
you
were.
had you was teaching
Those were the teens.
yeah, those are teams.
It was like a big teen day, and both of us were there, and we were having the same, like a similar conversation, but he was talking to me about really like being serious about my entrepreneurship and what it would take, and what it really takes. And I think that's a different kind of thing. Like when you it's different when you see it for yourself and you actually like really put the effort in. This is the difference. Like it's an effort. Like Devin's in Thailand right now. Like I need y'all to remember that there's a specific effort and energy that he put over his life to continue and continue and to continue doing better. And it naturally led him. Like if you hear our conversation, you hear the string that naturally led him to the next place, that naturally led him to the next person, that naturally led him to the next opportunity. So just keep on following your bliss. That's one thing that I want to put down, and keep on putting your energy into things that matter. So Devin, I want to talk about your film right now. We want to talk about that. So you're in Thailand and you're doing your thing. Can you talk to us about the film festival? Can you talk to us about the documentary, all of the things that you're working on right now?
Yeah, so when I came here, it was initially a vacation. I wanted to I wanted to spend about a month just to figure some stuff out. Um, for the past year, I was just on this whole transformation journey. Like, um, it was like I was preparing for this moment already.
Mm-hmm.
And even back in 2018, I used to pray that I shoot a documentary or a feature film one day. Little did I know how fast that would come, you know. So yeah, it started off as vacation, and one day I said, I just can't sit around. I don't know how to just chill. Like I always got to do something, whether that be learning something or making a video. And my thoughts was to know, it's a lot of people who do YouTube when they come out here or TikTok and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I want to do a YouTube. But even with that, my first YouTube was like talking about spirituality and the reason and what led me to even coming out Thailand, and how it started as like a note as an Airbnb in my phone, and then it led to this. And that was like 6 or 7 months prior to even coming out. So when I got here, I searched and found like this basketball academy, because the last project that I was working on when I was home was outside of Natu Press, was a series, like a youth basketball series called the Fast Break series. Mm-hmm. And I like the team and I documented a whole like summer of this youth basketball team from uptown. So I did like a season of that, and when I was in Thailand, I was like, let me see if they got basketball out here. See what the basketball culture like. And they actually had like a youth basketball team that was close, and it's different. Theirs is more so like recreational, but they're more focused on like individual skills and like getting the players like acclimated and really like just teaching the game to them. So I found one, and I think that's when the doors started opening for real. I documented. I just did a day or two. I did one day and one night. The next night, um, the coach was like, you want to come with me to this tournament? I was like, all right, cool. That'll be something cool. So I went to the tournament, and as soon as I walked in, uh, tall basketball player, he like he was probably like 6'11". I'm looking up. He like, hey, I see you with the camera. Where you from? And everybody out here, if they feel like if you could tell somebody's from the U.S.,
Right.
So he like, where you from? I was like, I'm from D.C. He was like, oh, I'm from Milwaukee. I was like, okay, cool.
Oh, that he was playing overseas basketball?
Yeah. So throughout the conversation, I learned he went to Villanova University. That's a top like NCAA basketball school, and then he had been overseas playing over here for about like 10 years almost. And yeah, he was like, yeah, I'll hit you up for some work. Maybe we can connect. And I was like, all right, cool. Literally from him to like, we stayed at the tournament for about 2 hours. I met like 3 or 4 other guys. So they was like, yeah, man, if you want to document t- this team over in like Vietnam, you can go over there. I can set you up with some people. I was like, oh man, just opportunity just opening up, opening up. So after that, it was I, I I met another guy that same day. He was from Toronto, and he was like, "Come to the gym with us," and they just shooting around. I was like, that's cool. I'll come. I just want to fly the drone right quick. So flew the drone, and he introduced me to another guy, and he was from Mississippi. And me and him actually like been cool like ever since. I don't really talk to as many people as much now, but uh, when he linked me with the guy CJ, man, like his story, we ain't know each other from a can of paint, but I don't know what it was about the questions I was asking. He just let it flow. Like I felt like I just knew him from like just one day. So after me, him, and the guy that introduced me to him had sat down for lunch, I was like, man, I love to come like interview you because I don't know too many people personally that took a route to come overseas and to play overseas for 8 years. He's then traveled to China, Malaysia, and Thailand now. And now he's like teaching physical education. So I was like, man, that's a hell of a story. And
Yes.
already like it aligned with the fast break series. It was like I wanted to present something to them to show like it's other roots than just the NBA. Like it's people actually thriving in other places and they constantly playing games and like getting contracts for basketball. So it's other outlets. So he was like, yeah, hell yeah, I do it for sure. I'll do an interview. So I spent like 2 days with him. I'm just documenting and I got to go to the school that he works at. It's like international schools out here are like state of the art. It's amazing. Like the school had like 2 swimming pools. They had a gym just for the
Not one,
team.
but two.
They had a ski simulator. Like you could ski. The kids can ski inside the man. Crazy. And it's kids from all different countries that go to these schools, plus Thai kids. So that was eye opening too. And I spent 2 days with him, and I was like, man, to be honest, I don't know where this interview gonna go. I don't have a purpose, but I was like, look, I'll I'll just say it's your documentary, like this your life documentary. He was like, all right, cool, man. Like, don't stress it. So even like a week after we met, or 2 weeks after we met, I'm like, man, look, I'm still editing that project. I got you. He like, nah, don't even trip. Like, just take your time. Like, after a while, he just started saying, okay, bro. But I was really working on it. So 2 months go down the line, he had told me about another area in Thailand. So I came up here and just was doing some more exploring. And while still editing that project, I had got a message on Instagram from a random producer. This guy produced like his own films, about 2 or 3, and just by me seeing, well, he messaged me and was just like, I like your cinematography. I'm actually I've spent time in Thailand, but I'm actually in the U.S. But I'll be back in Thailand to talk some more. So I was like, I put a general message, we followed each other. I was like, okay, all right, cool. A month later, he called me right back. He like, yo, can you meet up for lunch? Like, I'm back here in Thailand. I was like, all right, sound like a plan. He was like, yeah, I want to talk to you about some projects. He get there. Um, I, I didn't know what to expect. He was like, I had done a few movies, but I want to do like a documentary now, and I want to just produce a documentary about Thailand. And it was like, man, because it was hitting at the perfect time to where it's like, all right, the vacation is wearing off for me. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. You ready back to work?
yeah. I'm damn near trying to find some work, and but the universe was telling me like, just chill, like it's gonna find you. Seriously, like I had like recorded a party. I don't think I did a recap in so long before that, and it was just reminding me like, bro, just slow down. So anyway, hit me back up in like August, and he was like, yeah, I want to do some interviews, and he was like pretty. His name is Richard Stackhouse. He's from Philadelphia. Um, he was pretty open to any ideas that I had. He actually gave me like full creative flexibility for real. He was just, overseeing the project, and I really looked at him as like a mentor.
Right.
And even when I said that to him, he was like, "What mentor?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro, you like a mentor,
Right.
bro."
You don't know.
Like, so from September to November, we got to meet a couple different people. So the movie is about just foreigners, BIPOC foreigners specifically. If anybody don't know what BIPOC foreigners are, it's just us, black people, living over here and trying to figure out,
I get it. I like it.
trying to figure out,
Color. I got it.
yeah, Thailand color, trying to figure out what it takes to thrive over here because, like I said, some people will take a vacation, but they'll never take the time to just figure out, okay, what can I do to, if I want to get up and move and go somewhere, what can I do to, take those steps forward? So we met we met 5 out of the 6 or 7 people that we were going to interview. And they were in a couple different places. So that's when I pulled in the first interview. I was like, hey, I got an interview with a guy named CJ. He been living over here for 8 years. He like, yo, for real? I'm like, yeah, this is like falling in alignment for real. Like, so I was able to add his portion into the movie for sure. But yeah, we went around to like 4 different spots in Thailand. One was like up north, like in Chiang Mai. This guy named Will. He's from Washington State, and I think some part of the East Coast, but spent most time there. But him and his wife built a whole retreat up in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and it's a yoga and meditation retreat called Swan Satu. Just eye-opening experience. Like he's in the middle of nowhere, and it's people that look like us. You get what I'm saying? First of all, Thai people don't look too different from us anyway, either. But I'm just saying, like it's just that's so inspiring. You know,
Yeah.
like this stories hold so much weight. Um, Business owners like this restaurant owner. He's from like Oakland. Uh, and he's been over here what like 2 years now, but he's been studying international business. And he just talks about the importance of being multicultural and being able to build communities with people who don't look like you, and
Mm-hmm.
he goes into depth a lot about that. But it also talks about exploring Thailand itself too, and just it's the land of smiles here for real. Like everybody smiling. Like no matter where you go. Um, it's shocking because you would think, not even you would think, we come up in completely different circumstances, but we don't. Where we come from, you don't see people, just smiling for no reason. You actually looked at like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why you cheesing so? like, like getting on the bus or the train, just cheesing, like, but that says a lot within itself. So just taking that and that made the movie special itself. Um, that's what makes the whole experience special itself because it really shows how you can do a lot or you can be content with little.
Mm-hmm.
The prices out here are very, very low.
And you say little, but you're getting the way that you're living is what makes it rich, makes it a rich experience. Because we could say that, but that's what I'm thinking. Because I don't even have my passport yet. I've never been out of the United States before, and a lot of people are surprised
Get
when I say
your
that.
passport.
Look,
Get your
look,
passport.
I'm finna get it.
I want to jump through the screen and take you right now.
No, and I've always been like, well, I haven't had anywhere to go. I haven't had anywhere to go, but you never know. Like the second that I get my passport, I could have an opportunity like that to come somewhere or go do something. So I just love that. I just love that you have had the opportunity to travel so many different places and get this opportunity to experience so many different things because it might say it's a little, but I know that even your nervous system, I know you so calm. Like you ain't got nothing to really worry about. Like you living your life. You don't really have to think of I live downtown. I can see the Capitol from where I am. You know what's going on tomorrow. These people are lined up down the street. And I can only imagine when you go outside tomorrow morning, you're gonna see beautiful. And not have to worry about it.
But like, and don't get me wrong, like it,
Mm-hmm.
like it is definitely beautiful. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but
But
before I even got here, like I said, it was like for a year I had been training myself to like get used to. All right, look, if it's going to be a bad day, like it's something out this day that can make that special, and that's what's going to hold the most weight.
mm-hmm.
So it's some places out here that's trenchified. Like it look like the trenches, you know. But like you said, just the richness and the spirit. Not only that, specifically with Thailand, they've never been colonized. So that's just different in itself. You get what I'm saying? Like they don't they really stick together. I was in a museum and the tour guy he was in like a university. He was still in school, but he was telling me he was like like gangs. I was like what? He was like like Bloods and Crips. I was like, how you know gangs? He was like because we had gangs. Like we had to take up
Mm-hmm.
for ourselves and like they actually used it to actually stand their ground. So all they do is trade with other people and use forms of payment, and they, like I said, they really stick together. So it's not a lot that they consider like that they would need. You get what I'm saying? So, and trust me, it's completely different. We think we work our 8 hours or something. Over here,
real labor.
they work 12. Not only that, it's 12 hours, sometimes 6 days a week, and with 2 days off throughout the month.
The month.
Every day, still got a smile on their face. So it ain't about, like you said, it's actually being able to feel 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 like you're rich within your living. You get what I'm saying? Even what you got externally. So that's really eye opening to me, being out here.
Yes, and talk to us about the film festival as well.
Oh yeah, so that was the first time the film festival was public. Like this was like the first Southeast Asia International Film Festival, and it happened to be in the city that I stayed. Like me and the guy both staying. Well, he's back in the U.S. right now, but it happened to be in the same city. So I think around August we had finished shooting everything, and he was like, I want to get the project out before I go back to the U.S. So I was like, okay, cool. I was like, when you go back? He's like, November. I'm like, damn. All right. So I started editing quickly, got right to it, spent about 2 weeks editing, and once I sent him the project, prior to us even starting, he was like, I'd asked him what's the goal for like what platforms we're gonna put it on and stuff like that. So he was like, yeah, we're gonna submit to some festivals and pop later on down the line, looking towards like Amazon Prime and
wow, Devin.
there's more. So yeah. So after I sent the final cut, he hit me up about like a week later. He was like, "Yo, we got our first submission." I'd already started sending them out. I was like, "For real? What?" He was like, "Yeah, it's actually a film festival in Thailand." I'm like, "Yo, that's sick. That's what's up." So he was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to make it. So if you could go represent, go, yeah, just meet the producers of the festival." I was like, "Yeah, of course." So the festival was December, what it was like the 27th.
He was not playing.
Yeah,
he was not.
He was like month out of month, like straight to it.
Devin, for that to have started as a vacation, wow.
It was.
And you're so young. What do you like? I think you only like 2 years older than me. How old are you now?
29.
29. Oh, yeah, you're only 2 years older than me. Yeah. 29.
Let me tell you.
30.
I love your the journal that you put out though.
Oh, thank
because that played an important role of like how I got here. It's a like on the second page of the journal, it was a conversation I had with my brother, my blood brother, and he had asked me like, "Do you why you still living at home?" And partly because I had always said, "Oh yeah, I want to move such and such place," or I just want to scale the video production business in another place. So he was like, why you still at home? You ever thought about moving? And I wrote the conversation down verbatim in the journal. And that's when I made a decision that day. Like, I don't know how, but I'm gonna make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me starting that, like after writing that, I was able to like shed so much of the like weight I've been holding. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't gotta go this route. You can do this. Uh, I thought I had everything figured out. You get what I'm saying? So I started just letting go of stuff, letting go of relationships, letting go of habits, little by little, you know, and just seeing where it would take me. And speaking of growth, like the challenges is where I grew the most, where I thought like wasn't even going to make it out. Like I felt like my back was against the wall. I didn't have nobody to talk to. I felt like not even I felt people can attest to it, but like I'm very supportive, you know. So at at some points I was feeling like I wasn't getting that same support. So that made me dive more into like the self care practices and taking care of myself. So
Mm-hmm.
that journal is something special for real. I would recommend that to anybody because yeah, that's what got me here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, and that's why I wrote the journal so that we could have those conversations with ourselves again, self-support. Like, what do I want to see for myself? What can I see for myself? And a lot of times we'll pause what we see for ourselves because other people might not see it for us. And that's not what we have to worry about. We have to worry about what we can see. Nobody can see in our mind's eye. Only we can. So.
It was very therapeutic. I had even tried therapy for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Probably like in 20 during the pandemic. Matter of fact, I had tried therapy. I went to like 3 sessions, and I could have sworn maybe I might be over exaggerating, but I could have sworn my therapist just wouldn't even respond after a while. Like it was a guy. His name Mark, cool dude.
Where you at?
And he put me on. He put me on to some stuff, but I had about 3 sessions. I think the last session I moved into. I moved into like the last apartment that I had in Maryland, and he was like, you know, I think you all right. I was like, you sure? He was like, yeah, I think you all right. Like, all right, maybe I should, you know, continue doing the meditations and continue. A lot of it get discouraging sometimes. I stopped for a while when I came back home from Puerto Rico because just people that I was surrounding myself with wasn't practicing those same activities. So it wasn't like I could go and say, because I am so supportive, I I can't tell a friend, man, look, you should stop doing this and just go meditate. And they like, oh, what you mean? Like now you taking me down a whole different lane. What you mean meditate? It's like a journey that people gotta, you know.
You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice but to change your life.
Yeah. That person gotta be at that point for them to do that without me saying. So yeah, just for the past year before I got here, like I was just trying to be that example for real. Fasting, really cutting away from like what I normally do. When I first started working out, when I learned how to work out, I was always I wanted to bulk up, you know, like be my heaviest.
Stiff, just stiff.
Yeah, I wanted to be my heaviest. Even down at the club, like when we was doing image makers, I was heavier then than I was now.
I was gonna say, but all y'all, I feel like the boys that play football, y'all were pretty like, even though y'all kind of.
Yeah, and it like that during that past year, like it shifted. Like I was stuff myself with like hella food, hella protein and stuff like that. And that was what made me feel good. But what didn't feel good was when I didn't have the capacity to do that stuff and all of it was like just leaving my body. You get what I'm saying? Like I would take creatine and protein powders. When I stopped, I noticed I was having like nosebleeds and stuff like that. So going into like that the past year when I was studying for my certification in physical training, like I made the intention to do it differently and want to focus on all right, the less is more factor. Learning that you can fast, you can not eat sometimes, and it is okay.
Yes.
Like you ain't gotta be.
And you start to give your body a moment to, because I fast as well. I fast as well. So, and that's for your mind, it's for your body, but also it's for a reset. You don't realize how much when you eat or overconsume, you don't realize how heavy it is on your body. Sometimes you could eat something and then see how your body reacts to it. That's again going down the journey, seeing how you want to change your life, how you want to be better, because you might not know that if you eat some potatoes, that might take you down. But if you
Yeah,
eat
you
starch,
gonna
you
be
might be
done
all
for the
right.
day.
So
Right.
you gotta see. Or like dairy, like me, I only eat seafood. I'm pescatarian now, but I was vegan at one point. And then like changing your body. I'm gonna let everybody know now if you want to cut anything out your life, you need to make sure you really want to cut it out. Because if you try to put it back in your body say no. I've been there for plenty of things that my body's been like, we not doing that. So
It's going
yes. Mm-hmm.
and just looking at it that way, how you say like whatever you consume, it should benefit you. Like it's not to say, oh, I'm not vegan, but I've tried vegan food. I'm not especially coming out here, like I
Yeah.
still I want to
You know,
try different foods.
fresh.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm still open to it, but like when you sometimes the body need a break, and
Mm-hmm.
because it can heal itself, if you understand that the body can heal itself, you understand that okay, at this point in time, I should do this in order to get the best results out of what I'm doing. You get what I'm saying? So
Yes.
yeah, last year was a whole journey to get me here. Now it's uh, remembering those same things of what got me here and just taking it to the next level.
I love that. So then we can end out with this question, Devin. Where can we see you growing from here?
Letting it flow. Definitely more projects, more short films, just building on the leverage of the documentary and just being trying to be more creative. Um, doing still on my spiritual journey, and it might be lifelong. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Lately, I just been trying to see where it goes from here. Like I said, it's hard for me to not work. So I just been waking up most days while out here, just saying, I don't know. I'm gonna just see where it leads me. You know. Sometimes I truly believe in, hard work definitely gives you results, but I believe in magic for real.
Me
So
too.
being able to attend to that too, sometimes it gives you a whole nother level of focus. I just want to make sure I'm nurturing that side of myself.
I love that. And then can you let us know your social media and where people can follow you if you want to share your YouTube pages and all of that other stuff? And I also link it below.
So you can follow me at Devin Santino. That's DevinSXNTINO. And my YouTube is at Stack My 2 cents. So stack my 2 cents. Like
I
keep it
mean,
2 cents, but stack it 2 cents.
do you have any words to leave the community with before we close out?
um, just strive to be your best self and feel good every day.
I love that. So, oh, you were finished?
Nah, that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Devin. And I want to leave with this quote: "May your grievances be replaced with miracles, and keep growing, friends." Thank you.